Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Well, we're gonna talk boxing first. NBA starting tomorrow. It's about to go down. Okay, right about later on. So that's good at least. Some NBA, but without the crowds, it's a little different. But NBA back. It's a couple of good stories in there. We ain't gonna go too long. It's a boxing video. Bottom line though, in the boxing, right? It's a word that in boxing we know it all, but we can't use it that often, right? We can't use it that often because it don't never happen, and that's undisputed. And what that means for those who don't know is undisputed means in one division there's only one champion. That happens in boxing like pretty close to never. Right? Right now, the boxers that are currently fighting that have done that in a weight division would be Alexander Usyk in the cruiserweight division, which was ridiculous because he even did it going to everybody's backyard. He never fought at home. All the cruiserweights in the tournament, and they were all there. That's the most awesome. Followed by Terrence Crawford, who did it in the 140-pound division, right? Beating some bad dudes too along the way. The people try to act that they ain't bad now, but they still down there doing stuff. Those are undisputed guys, which means that's why they way up on the pound for pound list in front of people who are not doing everything in their power to not be undisputed. The Canelos and the Golovkins of the world. I ain't gonna stop saying it. So, undisputed. Now that Terrence Crawford guy, right? He came from 140 and he goes up to 147. People ain't in a rush to fight him. They keep saying, well, he hasn't fought anybody in 147. His resume, like Jeff Horn, I keep saying over, like Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao, right? Which means he's something after that. And then he goes and destroys Jeff Horn. Amir Khan, we can add him in there, but there ain't too many welterweights that do Amir Khan like that, right? Beat him in the submission, right? An undefeated, what is it, Mean Machine? He was undefeated. Let's see what somebody else does to him, right? But all those guys, you can call them, they're nothing. But there's something for somebody who moved up in the division. So he's moving up to 147 pounds. And the guys that's been there forever, they still didn't get undisputed, which I think they should have been, by the time Crawford got there, he should only have to fight the dude who's undisputed. But no, they want him to move up and then clean up all the work that they dudes have been there forever, and they've been there forever. The guys that people think are better than Crawford or on his level, the Keith Thurmans, forever. Never went to another weight division. Errol Spence, forever. Never went to another weight division. Right? Ever. Sean Porter is huge, actually, but never went to another weight division. Only other one that came up was Danny Garcia. You see what I mean? So why is he supposed to clean up everything that they was there forever for? But whatever. Right? Anyway, we normally have to look at that word undisputed through a telescope, you know, or a microscope because it's so small or so far away, depending on what scope you want to use. But it ain't going to be right in front of you. It's far away. It's always far away. The middleweight division I talk about in every video. I'm going to leave it this time. But we could have had that last year, undisputed. And everybody said, hell no, we ain't even think about that. Right? Told the dude who's so awesome that he ain't even got to do that. That's how we do. Heavyweight division, we was close. We was one fight away from it. I ain't going to mention names this time. But we were one fight away from it. You know what we were doing on the internet? Arguing about why the fight shouldn't happen. Like people don't want to see that because then the BS stops, right? When you have somebody that's undisputed, all of the BS stops. So that's not in the interest of the boxing industry, everybody, right? To be honest, but this welterweight division, we could probably see it, kind of far. You don't need a telescope, but it's far away. If you got bad eyesight, you ain't gonna see it. But undisputed, I'm gonna tell you why, right? Errol Spence is coming back. He's gonna fight Danny Garcia in November, right? We don't know exactly the date, but who cares? The fight's gonna happen. We're in a pandemic anyway. It's good to just hear fights like that on this magnitude. Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia is an awesome fight, period, because Danny Garcia is awesome and Errol Spence is awesomer, right? So that's bottom line. We could just keep it short on that. Now, this is what my issue, and I've been doing videos about. Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao are still in negotiations. Something could happen there. We do know that Manny Pacquiao never wanted to fight Terrence Crawford for the longest, which also gives him points in my pound for pound list when Manny Pacquiao don't want to fight you, and that's documented. That means you're awesome, right? And he proved it by beating Jeff Horn like Pacquiao didn't. But they're in negotiations because Pacquiao has that newfound, energy after beating Keith Thurman, albeit didn't take a dope test, but whatever. Let's see what happens there. But as long as they're in negotiations, and the promoter, Bob Arum of Terrence Crawford, said they're still in negotiation, they're trying to make that fight happen. That's good news because if Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford fight, we got a unification fight. The winner of Errol Spence and Danny Garcia, boom. If there's no rematch, then they can fight for Undisputed. They should write that in the contracts that, hey, we don't have no rematches if we have an undisputed fight. If we don't have an undisputed fight, then you guys can rematch each other. That's what they probably should do. And then it's not that far, because I thought welterweight division, we ain't going to think about no undisputed anytime soon. And let me just say something. Bottom line, why you're hearing about these fights is because the PBC and Al Heyman have forced people's hands, right? All these fights they're announcing, these wonderful fights, awesome fights, even though it's a pandemic, people have to get their stuff together because you can't offer just anything now. That's what's up. And Al Heyman's plan from day one is working. And all those other ones that's trying to do stuff, whether they was talking smack, HBO was talking smack, right? They ain't even in business no more. The Zone talking smack, can't even get their fighters that they paid $500 million for to fight nobody, right? Talking all that smack, pay-per-view is over and whatever. Well, whatever. This guy here, Al Heyman, and his point was simple from the beginning. He was just saying, listen, guys, we're going to fight on free TV so the normal person could see y'all, right? And when they see y'all a lot, just like the WWF or WWE, whatever it's going to be called, they got fake fights all the time. People lose and come back and whatever, but people know them. They're even into the guys who lose. And if you have a fight and you have a close fight, you can always come back. And here are examples of what I'm talking about. Keith Thurman fought Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Only one to beat them both, right? But Sean Porter, he beat Danny Garcia, and he fought Errol Spence, right? Even if he lost, he was still able to come back. Porter even fought Kell Brook and was able to get another title shot, right? Danny Garcia lost the fights to Porter and Thurman. Now he's about to fight Spence after 2 losses because they were close, competitive, and you're still all that just because you lost. That's how boxing should be. By the way, we can't say Danny Garcia ducking anybody because Danny Garcia, if you think about this too, I fought Sean Porter, Thurman, and now I'm about to fight Spence. I fought Lucas Matisse, Victor Postal when he was undefeated and wasn't nobody trying to fight him. So Danny Garcia is all that too, by the way. But I'm just saying, Al Heyman's plan of having these guys known on free TV, then you can put them in big fights on pay-per-view, and even after they lost, because people know them. That was the formula, and it's working. Another formula is treat the fighters like they're supposed to be treated. They're the main ones. Without them, we have nothing at all, even the ones that are journeymen. Because if we didn't have the journeymen, then these guys who we try to call good didn't have nobody they can beat, right? So it's all good. All of the boxers should be treated well, and that's what Al Heyman does. There hasn't been anybody who complains about Al Heyman except Vanis Monterrosen. And Vanis Monterrosen took that back and said if I had a chance to excuse myself or go back to Al Heyman, I would. That's damn near 100% if you ask me. So, yes, welterweight division could be popping off. It's Al Heyman and them. Could be popping off. We could get undisputed without having to do this. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens. Doma Sports Talk worldwide. And I'm about here, y'all.